Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't filmed in a while, but I'm back. Stuff's been a little bit crazy with family. I've had family members in the hospital and just school, summer semester is finishing out and we're about to start fall. So it's just been really kind of hectic the past couple weeks. But I wanted to have like a funny, little short story time with y'all today about when I went in for a breast augmentation consultation. Really, I don't know, just kind of funny. But I went to a doctor here in Houston because I've always wanted to have my boobs done. I've wanted them done since I was 16, so I've basically researched it on and on, off and on since I was 16, and it's just always something I really wanted for myself. By the way, if you hear any weird noises in the background, it's my dog. She's walking around and I can't lock her up or else she'll bark and go nuts. So anyway, I will get right into it. So a few years ago, I made an appointment with a really popular plastic surgeon here in Houston. I really loved his work. He's done a lot of breast augmentations for friends of mine, and he's worked on a few people who have been on TV shows and stuff like that, and he's got a really good repertoire built up with people here in the city. I've even talked to strangers in bars and restaurants and stuff. If I see a girl who's got really great boobs or something, I'll be like, oh my gosh, your boobs are amazing. No offense, I hope you don't take it bad, but they're amazing. And if they've been done, they're like, oh yeah, doctor, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, that's who I'm gonna go to. No freaking way. So his name always comes up. He's a pretty popular plastic surgeon when it comes to breast augmentations here in Houston. But anyway, so I made an appointment and it's the day of my consultation. His office was really nice. His staff was really nice and it was clean and all that. So I get called back to go see him. So I'm waiting in the room and I'm really anxious. I can't wait to see what he says. And I was just so anxious because I was I want to know how much it was going to be, because I was I want to get this done now, right now. So, he comes into the office with, one of the girls in his staff. I guess, I don't think she's a nurse, but just one of their aides who does the paperwork, puts you in the room and, who's there just for, guidance. I guess kind of support, making sure that the doctor doesn't do anything, or basically, whenever you go to the doctor and they're oh, do you want someone in the room with you? They're just there for your protection, the doctor's protection, all that stuff. Anyway, so she was in there, the doctor came in, and he was really nice. He introduced himself to me, and I was no, I know exactly who you are. I was I love your work. I've seen your work all over the city. It is amazing, which is why I'm here, because I want to get my breasts done. And he was okay, so what are you thinking about doing? What is it that you want to do? Or what is it that you're not happy with? And I was well, I just feel they're a little bit on the small side for me. I feel they're just not really in good proportion with my body because my hips are so naturally large and so is my butt. It's not bad. It's not to where it's oh my God, can she even make it through the doorway? It's not like that. It's just when I developed as a teenager, or before I was a teenager, I got my hips when I was 11 years old. I developed and frickin' those bad boys were there. And then my butt followed pretty much right after. It's not I was doing squats at 3 years old. So, they just came really naturally to me. And like I said, they're not awkwardly huge. It's not I've got freaking, muffin top hanging over all my clothes and stuff like that. I've just always had a Coke bottle curvature to my body. I've always had it. Except for my top half didn't really balance out the bottom. And it's not that I want them to be as big as the bottom. I just want it to look, proportionate. So, and back then my breasts were a lot smaller than they are now. Through weight gain and weight loss and all that stuff, I've gained a little bit more weight in my chest, thank God, and it stayed there. So they're a little bit bigger than what they used to be, and so I know I'm gonna have to go to him, of course, for another consultation, and now I'm kind of oh, should we maybe do a small lift? you know, like I'm just gonna have to go see and see what he recommends. But when I went to that consultation with him, like I said, he was very nice and it went really well. We talked about the sizes. He let me put a couple of like the silicone samples like in my bra so I could see like the size under my shirt of like how it would look. And you know, we did decide on a size, although I cannot remember. Like I said, it's been a few years now. But it was a size that he thought would work good for my frame and that wouldn't look crazy on me, but would still give me the look that I wanted. Because I was like a small B at the time, like medium, like B cup size. And now I'm a small C, and I've always wanted to be a D. So, yeah, subtle changes, right? So, you know, like that's just kind of where we're at now. It's like now I'm like a small C and I'd really like to be a D or even like a small double D, something like that. Just, you know, something that goes with my body, but that isn't like freak show, like, oh my God, like Pamela Anderson. Like, I love Pamela Anderson and I loved her boobs. I just don't feel like that's, you know, necessarily right for me. But, you know, something in that vicinity, I guess. So, we talk about all that. I try on the sizers and we decided that to go with silicone. I didn't want saline because saline, you'll get the rippling eventually, like if the bag's not filled all the way or just over time. So like when you lean over and people can like see your cleavage, there's like ripples and stuff and like you can see it. And I didn't want that. I wanted silicone. So plus I knew he had the gummy bear implants, which are the cohesive gel silicone implants. So basically if they ever pop, if they ever leak, tear, anything, they will not leak out into your body and possibly make you sick or poison you. It will basically just stick to itself. So, and that's what I wanted. Plus they also feel very natural and that's also what I wanted too. So basically after that, you know, I also asked him, I'm like, you know, hey, like while I'm on the operating table, you know, would it be possible to get Juvederm injected into my face and just in my smile lines, just because you might not be able to see it right now. I mean, I know you can kind of see like the crease of like how it folds to where like where my cheeks are and where my lips are, but there's always like this fine line here, my smile lines, and I don't really like them. So I was like, you know, can I get some Juvederm injected in there, you know, kind of help it smooth out? And he was like, yeah, you know, like we can do that for you. That's no problem. You know, all that stuff. Like that sounds good. He's like, but whatever you do, don't touch your lips. And I was like, okay. And I mean, he said it very nicely, but he's like, but whatever you do, he's like, not in my office. He's like, do not touch your lips. And I was like, why? What's wrong? Like, and he was like, no. He's like, they're perfect. Don't touch them. He's like, I have women coming into my office wanting your lips. Don't touch them. He's like, they're the perfect size. They're the perfect proportion to each other. He's like, they fit your face well. And he was like, they're not overly huge. He's like, they fit perfectly and they're, you know, in perfect proportions to each other of the bottom lip to the top lip and all that stuff. So he's like, do not ever put any kind of fillers or anything in your lips. He's like, they are perfect. He's like, I would tell you no if you wanted lip injections. He's like, I would tell you no, or lip implants. He's like, they are perfect the way they are. He's like, don't ever touch them. And I was like, okay, you know, like, thank you. Like, I've never had anybody tell me that before. I mean, I've had people be like, oh, like, I like your lips, but never be like, oh my God, like, don't ever touch them, don't ever do anything to them, like, they're so perfect. I've never had that. And in my opinion, if a plastic surgeon compliments you on a part of your body, that's a pretty dang good compliment, because let's face it, they see imperfection and they see things that people want to change all day. And while, yeah, he may just have different tastes and maybe my lips are like really ugly to other people and maybe he just thinks they're, you know, pretty, whatever. But he was just like, he's like, no, he's like, they're perfect. They're the perfect size. Don't touch them. So I was like, you know, okay. I was like, I wasn't ever planning on it anyway. I was like, but, you know, thank you. I was like, I really appreciate that compliment. That's really nice of you to say. I've never had anyone who's just been like, oh my God, like, you have something that's perfect on you. Except for, like, my nose. People have, like, really liked my nose, and I don't understand it because I don't like the tip of it. Like, if anything, I want my tip brought in and, like, shaved down a little bit on the front because it's just a little bit, there's, like, a little, I don't know. I feel like I could take a marker and draw a perfect circle on the tip of my nose. And yeah, I know everybody's like, oh, I could draw a perfect circle on my nose too. No. I mean, the way that the tip is shaped, it makes like a perfect, like little like beach ball circle. And I kind of want that brought in to where it's a little bit more refined and pointed. And of course, no one wants me to do it. My husband doesn't want me to do it. My mom doesn't want me to do it, blah, blah, blah. So, that's something that's probably never going to happen. And what is going on with my hair? Anyway. So, yeah, I just thought that was a very interesting story. But in the end, you guys, if you want something done to yourself, I say do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with having plastic surgery, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, and as long as you research. Make sure you research who you're going to, who is going to be doing your plastic surgery. Follow their career. Now with social media, you can follow their Instagrams, their Snapchats even, their Facebooks, Twitter, I guess, like whatever. You can just follow them, go to their office for a free consultation if they offer them, and go and check it out. Even if you're not ready, but if you know that like, hey, this is probably the surgeon I'm gonna go with, go to their office, have a consultation, and check it out. Because, you don't want to come and be like, okay, this is the person I've settled on, this is who I definitely want to do it. You show up in their office, it looks like a pit, and you're just like, no, I was hoping to book my surgery today, but no. And then you got to look for another surgeon and do all that research all over again. Make sure you research, the implants themselves. Make sure you look up the incisions and like where they can go, because there are a few different places where how they can put in your implants. Make sure you research all the pros and cons of everything. Research is definitely key, because you do not want to end up like on the Dr. Phil show or something, or botched, being like, fix it, they fucked me up, and I just wasted like all my money. Also, because by the way, like at the end of my breast augmentation, I was quoted, it was fairly high. Everybody who I've talked to is like, oh, I paid $2,000 for my boobs. I paid $4,000. My surgery was going to be around $8,000. But it was also with like the lifetime guaranteed, where like if my implants ever popped, if they ever leaked or anything, they would they would like fix them for free or whatever the hell. I can't even remember like the whole deal with it, but I think it was like an $800 thing to add on, so that wasn't even that much money to add on. But silicone is normally $1,000 more than saline. It just depends on what surgeon you go to, who you go to, but it ranges normally about an $800 to $1,000 difference if you go from saline to silicone, which I didn't really mind, because, I didn't want them to look bad. I didn't want to have them for like 5 years and then all of a sudden you start to see creasing and ripples. No, I wanted them to look perfect for at least that first 10 years. They say you should get them changed out every 10 years. As far as I know, the implants themselves have like a lifetime guarantee on them, but the surgery doesn't. Your body's going to change. You'll have children, you'll age, you'll lose weight, gain weight, all that stuff, and it'll change the way your implants sit or how your body adjusts to them and how it heals to them also, because you could end up healing to where you have encapsulation, which is where scar tissue forms around the implant, and it looks weird. And people have to get that fixed. So, the implants themselves are a lifetime guarantee, but the surgery itself is not. So, I want them to look good at least, because it is an investment. It is an investment. A lot of women have had their implants and they've had them sitting in their chest for like 30, 40 years and haven't touched them, and have had no issues. And, hey, they're lucky, that's awesome. But me, I'm definitely going to try to get them changed out at least every 10 to 12 years, just because I know it's kind of what you're supposed to do to keep them looking proper and to make sure that everything's okay inside of your breast, because also, they say that having breast implants, you're at like a higher risk for breast cancer and stuff like that. I don't know if that's necessarily 100% true. I'm sure there's definitely some fact to it. I'm sure there is, because you're putting a foreign object in your body that's not supposed to be there. But, I'm going to be like really strict on my health about that and keeping an eye on it, because I also see it as, if it's something that you don't need, like it's not a life-saving surgery, one, you shouldn't finance it. I know there's a lot of people who finance plastic surgery, and that's fine if you really want it and that's what you want to do, finance it. I personally don't believe in it. I'm only going to get it once I can pay for it, either all in cash or at least 75% of it in cash, because I don't want to finance that whole amount. That and care credit is like really outrageous to do as well, like the interest rate and stuff, and I don't want that. And also just research everything. Research everything. Just, you know, if you think you're being a little too stingy on researching, you're not. Keep researching. And, you know, that's it. That's all you really have to do. If you want something, just make sure you're doing it for yourself. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And don't be in a rush either, because I've always been in a rush, and I still really want my boobs done, but I'm kind of just like, okay, I'll probably wait till after I have at least a child, and then we'll do that, because I don't want to have a kid and then they get ruined and messed up from breastfeeding and all that crap. So I'm just kind of like, I will wait, I will see what my body does, and then see where we need to go from there. But anyway, so that was my interesting story of how I've basically been told I am not allowed to touch my lips, at least by that plastic surgeon. I don't know what others would say, but yeah, I am not allowed in his office to touch my lips at all. I'm sure if I wanted them bad enough, he would do them, but I've never wanted my lips done, and I don't think I'll ever want my lips done. So, you know, I kind of found it funny because that went so unprovoked. I never brought up anything about my lips, and he's just like, just don't ever touch them. I was like, okay, like I won't, I promise. But anyway, you guys, that is my story. I'm sorry if I've been rambling or jumping back and forth. My brain's been just a little off. Just, like I said, I've been busy with like a lot of crap lately. But anyway, like I said, again, if you want to have plastic surgery and then you're doing it for yourself, do it. But if you're doing it for somebody else, just wait. Just, you know, don't do it unless it's something that you truly want and something that you can truly live with. But anyway, you guys, that's about it for today. I will hopefully have a video up for you again soon. With school starting up again, I really honestly have no idea, but hopefully I will. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of your day. And yeah, that's pretty much